Westerners are generally tending to favor places like India over Pakistan, Israel over Gaza, Israel over Iran, Ukraine over Russia. But as a historian and a social scientist, I have to say, you need to understand the perspective of both areas. You need to argue both sides, and you need to realize why they're doing this, even if you don't agree with what they're doing. Putin is going after Ukraine because he wants to revive the Russian Empire, and Ukraine, he believes, has been historically Russian, and so it has no right to have autonomy. The Israelis are going after the Gazans because they see this as their chance to basically end the Palestinian question forever. I mean, the far right in Israel does. Not all Israelis, and maybe not even the prime minister to one extent or another. But yeah, the lack of the West's ability to understand the reasons geopolitically why these areas are fighting and why one side thinks one way, even though you can side with Israel all you want, but that doesn't mean you are off the hook for understanding geopolitically and historically why Iran is doing what Iran is doing, and vice versa. Was Homer real? Probably. Peter, hello. Do you know of any books on German tribes? Do you know of any books on German? Ooh, that's a good one. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one, chemistry. I don't know of any directly that I have read. Are your prayers with the Pali people? My prayers are for peace, for salam, for shalom, for paz, for peace. That's a very fair prayer, I think. And yes, follow us on the social medias. And Evan, I think you can probably agree with a lot of what I'm saying for once. And let me see, where were we? Pinning the social media handle, so I lost track of the chat. If you have a question around history and social studies, please ask it. I'm catching up as soon as I can. Karina is saying, do you support Israel or Palestine? I mean, I've gone on the record a lot on this channel, so I'm assuming you might be new, and talking about how I believe Israel, how I'm supportive of Israel from a Western perspective, but I mean, is it so terrible now especially now, to demand that Israel, especially after Israel's gotten the backup from the US and Iran, that Israel stop and just knock it off and then resume diplomacy? Probably something that they should have done a year or two ago, so I was probably wrong about some of that. Do you think Napoleon was a good person, or at least his actions were justified? Great question, Hars. I love Napoleon. He's one of my most fascinating people in history. I think Napoleon is the most enigmatic figure in history because a man of a revolution, created by a revolution, and supposedly a servant of the revolution, ruled as a dictator. I think Napoleon was a reasonable person. I think it would have been very interesting to talk to him. I think he would have seen himself as justified, but I think a lot of the demagoguery and shallowness of dictators in the 20th century owes to someone like Napoleon. So, how did Hannibal's armies make it so deep into Roman territory? A lot of the areas that Hannibal went through, be it Spain or Gaul or the Alps, weren't controlled by the Romans at that time, Ferg. And when he got there, he kind of just played cat and mouse with them, and was always able, like at, I think it was, I'm trying to remember the war, Carrhae? Was it Carrhae, I think? He was able to just, Lake Trasimene and Carrhae, he was able to just basically surprise the Romans with a much smaller mercenary force, and ambush them on several occasions. He was still really good. So, I think I have asked this before, but I have forgotten what your answer was. What is the difference between a historian and a history fanatic? Great question. So, a historian is someone who studies history. A history fanatic, and usually, technically, it means somebody who is a professional. A history fanatic is somebody who who is crazy about history, and a historian really gets into the science of interpretation, like I'm doing now, talking about geopolitical concerns, historical applications, things like that. Whereas a history fanatic loves the way history is just facts. So they're probably someone who can just spew facts. Like, I can spew facts about the Civil War all day, unlike the President of the United States. But I can also explain what it means. And I think that's what distinguishes a history fanatic from a historian. There's nothing wrong with being a history fanatic. I just think a historian is a tier above. And I know, Harry, you can certainly do that, and most of you can. And if you're studying and enjoying history, you're a historian. So that's why I always say becoming a friendly neighborhood historian is as easy as liking and subscribing, because it's you getting involved in the process of history, asking questions, stuff like that. And I've been a teacher. Some of you are wallflowers, and some of you like to sit by and just listen and enjoy the vibes. And I'm here for that, and I love that, and I bless that. But if you're here to ask questions and learn about social studies, I'm willing to engage with you, and sometimes even debate with you, as you and I have gone back and forth on many different occasions. So that's, for me, the difference between